Welcome back to the 615 Locker Room Podcast. A week of ups and downs for Nashville SC, I would say. We had a really fun game to watch against Charlotte, which we will talk about, and then a not so fun watch against Tigres, which I think is we'll get into, but I think going there to that game probably was a bit more frustrating than watching at home. Um, Anyways, so let's just start out with the Charlotte game. Let's start out on a high note. Roses and then the thorns, I guess. Uh, wow, what a showing by Kassam. We've been kind of waiting for him to turn up like he did in that first game, and I think we finally saw that. Um, I just want to give all the viewers kind of a heads up. It's finals week for me right now, so it's going to be so hard to recollect uh, on a lot of what's happened this week. But I remember it being a super fun game. Sam Surge obviously getting the brace. Um, we had a goal from Hani to start out, and then Charlotte answered with two goals. One right before the second half, and then one kind of in like the middle of the second half. But yeah, Matt, what was your thoughts on the game? Did you get to watch much of it? I know you've been traveling like crazy, so do you have any thoughts on Nashville versus Charlotte?
Yeah, I was in Gatlinburg this weekend, but we got back to the cabin and we brought our Apple TV with us, so I was able to kind of watch it from the cabin after we got back in from our day at Dollywood. Weird game because I mean we were just in complete control the whole match. I mean it was as dominant of a performance as Nashville SC have had this season, but just like two just weird brain fart moments just made it way closer than it should have been for stretches where we go up 2-0, feels like we're coasting, feels like it's about to be 3-4-0 easily. Then just a weird, bizarre fall asleep at the back post, give up a kind of easy header goal to Charlotte. It's 2-1, so suddenly it's a little tense again. Feeling a little tight. Second half, Sam Surge comes on, lights the fire, go up 3-1. It's like, all right, here we go. Everything's back rolling again. And then another just bizarre. Just everybody falls asleep for a moment. Nobody closes down the most dangerous guy on the field for Charlotte. Just gives him an easy shot, and then all of a sudden it's 3-2, and it's like, how is this a one goal lead in this game where we're just kind of kicking their butt for the most part? And then Sam does what he does, gets the fourth, and from there that was just kind of the last gasp for Charlotte. I think they knew they'd kind of given it their best shot. They took some of their key guys off kind of even late, and really were kind of, I don't want to say waving the white flag, but it was kind of both teams I think were happy with where they were at, and Charlotte kind of knew they'd done their best, and it kind of seemed like everybody was just happy to get out of Dodge at that point in time. But really weird game where it's like Nashville plays as dominant as it can. I think it was a crazy stat I saw that was like maybe only like the first or second time this season we've given up more than one goal. So it was even just bizarre on that front that we've been so solid defensively and just those two weird lapses. But I think between this game and the game against Tigres last night, we're starting to kind of see
Yeah,
little bits of hints of the kind of fatigue from the schedule fixture congestion that so far hadn't showed its head yet. So far, it seemed like we were surviving, our depth was playing through. But I think these two games, just with kind of the mental lapses against Charlotte, and then just the general overall performance against Tigres, I think the schedule's catching up to us a little bit. There's definitely a little bit of mental and physical fatigue, it seems, from the team right now. But I mean, once again, outside of those two mental lapses, it was as dominant performance as Nashville SC can get. It's another team that's kind of in the mix toward the top of the East. So
mhm,
doing the double over them, winning two games against them, weird timing to have played them twice in like a 2 week span, basically. But another good MLS win put us in good standing for MLS. So it's one of those where it's kind of like, you look at the two goals we gave up, it's like, it's kind of weird. But,
yeah,
otherwise, push those to the side because everything else about it was a good performance. And it was like, yes, we've got Sam Surge back. He's right back where he dropped off, where he left off. Hasn't missed a beat. He's fit. He's coming back. We're going to be back to firing on all cylinders. And it was fun while it lasted.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think in like times like this, like it's interesting that you're like, yeah. Oh, I mean, you're kind of focused in about like what the hell happened with the two goals that was scored against us, but in games like this, for me, unless it's like just a freaking blowout, obviously, like I just look at it as a win. Like I don't really think about like what happened in those two unless it's a super big change. Um, But I mean, in a game like this, I mean, we obviously won it. Um, on the scoreboard and just watching, like we won that game. So like 4-2, 1-0, like I don't know, it kind of doesn't make a difference to me. Um, I think we were the better team regardless of what exactly the score
No
sheet
doubt.
says. Um, so that's just an interesting kind of perspective difference there that I thought was neat to point out. But yeah, I mean, Sam came on and did his thing, and we were excited to have him back. Charlotte had 420 passes in that game. Just want to say that. Funny number, right?
Good timing.
Uh,
Yeah, it was
but
good timing.
it, yeah, it's 5 days after.
Or just a couple days. Yeah, a couple days late.
um, but then we got the heartbreaking news that he was out with a back injury for Tigres.
Hmm.
Um, so is he just getting banged up in practice? Is it are we what do you think's happening here? Like, I mean, obviously the boys are starting to get tired, and with that comes more prone to injury. But um, even in our deep open cup run, I feel like he was pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think that he'd be getting injured in practice just because uh, typically when you've got, games every 2 to 3 days the way Nashville SC's had, you're not really rolling out that intensive practices. You're
Hmm.
doing a lot more recovery days than you are like full on training sessions. Like I can remember times where like uh, managers come in to teams, particularly like Europe. It's a big thing. Sometimes a manager comes in and they're like, we have a game every 2 days. I haven't even got to really practice with the team, so the team doesn't even know what I'm trying to get them to do yet, and stuff like that. So, I don't like the hamstring injury. Those are weird. Anything could happen. Could have been just like some light conditioning stuff, and it tweaks a little bit and precautionary stuff there. The back could have been something where he got hurt in the game, and sometimes those type of things tighten up later. You don't necessarily
Yeah.
notice them at first, so could be any number of things. That's one of the you don't always get the disclosure in soccer and stuff the way you do in some other sports. Soccer seems to still be able to keep things under wrap. Like I think hockey's kind of the other one where it's like, oh, he got his head knocked off. He's probably got a concussion. They're like, well, we're going to call that an upper body injury and not really tell you much else about it. But soccer's kind of that way too, where like, especially like MLS is like even a little bit better than most leagues because MLS at least has injury reports that come out on the Friday before the matches for the most part that give you a little bit of clarity on what's going on. Whereas like, European soccer is just like, you show up and you don't know that a player's out injured until the lineup comes out and you're like, wait, where is this guy? And then the manager will say like two things right before the kickoff, like, hey, got a little tightness. Do you think he's okay? And then he misses 3 months. So
Yeah.
uh, I think it was the wording on the back injury with Sam was week to week, which I think when the hamstring injury happened, they were saying day to day. So if you just
Hmm.
kind of know how calendars work, week to week sounds a lot worse than day
Yeah.
to day. So, whereas with the hamstring injury, I think we were pretty much counting on him being back pretty quickly.
Hmm.
This one feels like, it might be a little bit before we see him again, which is truly unfortunate because, I mean, when he came back, like I said, he had not missed a step, jumped right back in,
Hmm.
bangs in 2 goals. Looks like he's still one of the most electric scoring threats in MLS. And now here we are again, kind of short a man.
Where is Till Bunbury when you need him?
He actually funny this week. I don't know if you saw like
Yeah.
it was going around the Discord that he's taking up. He's still in Nashville. He's taking a position with one of the local clubs here,
Hmm.
FC Armada, kind of helping out with their development programs and stuff like that. So he's in town. He's available. If Mike Jacobs wants to pick up the phone,
I
he's in town. It's not that hard to find him. He's around, but I think they'll be proudly happy to ride with what they got for the most part there because you talked about Ahmad Kassam. I was a little disappointed that he didn't start the game after
hmm
playing so well against Tigers, especially with Sam being out. Then it's a perfect opportunity to kind of bring in the guy who just had a really good attacking performance. But I can also understand. I kind of mentioned in my game day vlog. I could understand not Mike Jacobs, BJ's logic to kind of go with Alex Muil, that kind of extra hybrid defender attacker kind of dude. But yeah, it's we got some guys who have emerged. So it sucks. You never want to lose a key guy like that. But we've seen other guys step up in his absence already. So we'll
Yeah.
ride with what we got.
I I'm gonna be honest, Fox Sports hates my guts. Every time I log into with the provider, I pay for a subscription, it still gives me like the 20-minute trial thing or whatever it is. So I got to watch the first half of the Tigres game. I could not figure out how to watch the second half. Um,
Yeah.
so I got to see some of the first. I thought this was like probably the first time that I've watched Alex Moyle play and not you know crap my pants every time he gets the ball. Uh, I feel like in the parts that I watched, he was playing phenomenally. Moving the ball excellently. I can't speak for the second half, but I feel like he had a pretty good game too to start out with at least.
Yeah, I think for me, he's just usually like he's the easiest target. He's like the most obvious like guy when you're like, oh, wish we had a better attacking player on. It's like who you can take out, him or Warren Madrigal. It's him. But like and the funny thing about me having such a love hate relationship with him is like he's the exact type of player that should be one of my favorite players because
Mhm.
he's the type of player I was, where he's like maybe not the most skilled dude on the field, but he's gonna like run his butt off, cover every blade of grass, can play multiple positions because he knows he's got to do whatever he can to get on the field and just like is a grinder. That's how I was as a player. So those are almost always my favorite players. But for whatever reason, him with Nashville SC, I don't know. It's just I think it's because he's had so many moments where it's just a golden opportunity, just the most brilliant chance possible. And it's like if it fell to anybody else on the field, it'd be a goal, but it always seems to fall to Alex Mills. So I think he's just been
Yeah,
a victim of circumstance in that regard. But he should also get credit if you're constantly getting in those positions, you're doing things well. So I mean,
true.
it's a double-edged sword in my love-hate relationship with Alex Muyl. But yeah, he had a pretty good game. I missed about the first 10 minutes because we kind of staggered walking over there from my buddy's house who lives nearby because with the weather delay, we're like,
Hmm.
we don't want to walk over the game and just be stuck in the stadium. And so once they lifted the delay, we walked over, but then we missed the first 10 minutes, which we walked in like literally right after the disallowed goal. So we didn't even
Yeah,
see that. That was like the first thing we're walking in the concourse. We hear the whole stadium erupt. We kind of go out to the concourse and we see the overturn. So I never even got to see the disallowed goal, but apparently it was pretty clear that Reed Baker Whiting was
yeah,
offside on it from what I heard. But from stuff I've read on other post game recaps, that we were pretty uh, dominant and in control for that first 10 minutes or so up until that point. And it was kind of after that disallowed goal where things kind of went south from us, and that was kind of most of what I saw. So like if you watch my game vlog, I'm sitting there going, "This is the worst we've ever played. We've just been getting
yeah.
our butt kicked the whole game." But apparently, I just missed the part of the game, so maybe I shouldn't have gone to the game at all because apparently we were doing pretty well, and then I showed up and everything just went down the toilet. But uh, yeah, I mean, it was one of those games where when I think a lot of players were looking a little bit sluggish, a little slow.
Yeah,
Alex Muyl, to your point, when he's still got that energy, he's still bringing the intensity. It probably elevated his performance and made him look a little bit better because he had a little extra in the tank that maybe the rest of the players didn't have. It seemed.
true. Yeah, and I think uh, probably that early disallowed goal, and then going down a goal early ish. And then the Eddie injury probably just threw the got the boys in their head a little maybe. There's so much weight I think being put on those games right now. It would be hard. It's hard as a fan not to get in the slumps, and especially as a player, I imagine that's probably 10 times worse. So I understand the sluggish kind of slowness and the mental mistakes that's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, you kind of triggered something in my brain there. Like, all three of the home legs against Inter, Miami, against Club America, now against Tigres, feels like we've had a little bit of tightness, a little bit of
Mhm.
tenseness. And then we go to the second leg on the road, and it's like, okay, we can just play free, and we know what we have to do. We can go for it. And where it's almost like, that home leg, you're like, oh, we got to keep them off the board. We got to get a result. We got to score. It's our home game. We got to do stuff like, I don't know if that's causing extra mental, pressure on them in those matches. And, this one, like you said, you lose Eddie Tagseth like 12 minutes in, you lose Sam Surridge before the game starts, get a goal taken off that you felt pretty good about, and then all of a sudden they score. It's just one of those weird games where, like, you're probably right. It probably was a lot of mental stuff just kind of stacking on top of them that kind of on
Yeah.
the top of the physical toll they've had this season, the mental stuff starts stacking up. But I mean, maybe there's something there where it's like we're going to go down to their stadium and it's like, all right, we know exactly what we have to do. We're down 1-0, pressure's off. It's all gravy. We either win or we don't. We can go for it there.
Yeah, I've seen in all the online forums and all the discourses about everyone's like, well, say there goes the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I'm like, guys, shut the hell. Like, one game, one goal. We're a team that can overcome that. Shut up and let it ride.
Yeah, yeah. I think the fact that we're in such a strong position in the league um, gives us the opportunity to really like not kind of give up on this. I think it's only 1-0, so I mean really we shouldn't give up one way or the other. But I
Yeah.
can definitely see a circumstance where if we'd been struggling in MLS play and we'd kind of slipped down the table or something like that, it
Hmm.
may be a thing in BJ's mind to kind of pivot back and kind of go, all right, if we gave it a good go, but maybe it's time to start putting a little more focus on the MLS matches. But it's 1-0 down. We've shown the ability. We literally went and won a game in the most impossible stadium to win a game in. So I mean, we've shown we can go on the road and get the results we need in this competition, and we're in a strong position in MLS to where we can keep going, keep giving it our best in this competition right now. So disappointing result, but I think all three of the home results have been in one form or fashion a little bit disappointing. Two
Yeah.
nil
Yeah.
nils, but go get the job done in the second leg. You know what you got to do. That's kind of one of the fun things about the two leg knockout ties. One way or the other, you go into the second leg knowing what you need to do.
Yeah. So since we haven't had a goal scored against us at home, and we've scooted by the away goal rule. So did they also get an away goal when they come to play us? And what do we need to get to draw on in the second leg?
Right. So yeah, that's an away goal for them for having scored against us here at Geos Park last night. So if we go down there 1-0, if we win 1-0, basically it's like a tie. So we'd go
Okay.
to extra time, kicks from the mark if needed. If it's 1-1, then we have to win. Like if they get,
Hmm.
we'd have to 1-1 would they would win because it'd be 2-1 on
Yeah.
aggregate. Uh, 2-1 win for us, we go through because we'd be tied on aggregate, but we'd have two away goals to their one goal. So, that's another one where we gave up an away goal, but if we get two away goals,
Hmm.
suddenly we swing the whole thing. So, and I think we're certainly a team that's capable of doing that,
Yeah.
even likely being without Sam Surridge. We've got firepower. We've got guys who can put goals in the back of the net. Maybe we rest a handful of those guys, let them get their legs back this weekend against Philadelphia, come back a little bit more refreshed for that next game, and we'll see what happens. So it, it it's probably feels a little bit more daunting just because of how much MLS teams traditionally struggle against League MX teams, particularly in Mexico. So
Hmm.
that 1-0 probably feels a lot heavier than it kind of would under other circumstances. But,
Hmm.
we've, like I just said, we went to the most impossible Mexican stadium to play in and won. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put any doubt on this team until it ain't over till the fat lady sings, whatever kind of expression you want to use there.
Yeah. I'm completely there with you. I think it's very, very doable, and I think I don't see any reason to doubt the boys yet. We had a bad game that happens. The Jordan's Bulls lost sometimes. That happens. Whatever. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for it. Of course, there is nerves there, but that's just with any competition and going into any competition ever, despite where you are. I was nervous against Atlanta last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. So whatever. Something I'm really not nervous about is Nashville versus Philadelphia. Um, we are, the bookends of the league of the conference right now, with Nashville being at 1, Philadelphia being at 15. Uh, let's get a fully rotated squad and just hope something happens. You don't want to lose the 15th spot, but you can take your chances a little bit there and really really attack the cup.
Yeah, yeah, because I think also there's been, the teams kind of directly around us in the East are also not doing too well. Like Miami's drawn again. They're struggling. They're not getting the results they thought they did. New York City's been a little up and down, so we aren't feeling as much pressure at the top, even being at the top. So we can be a little bit more flexible in this match. I think for sure. I think we can definitely rest some people. Uh, Philadelphia is just such a weird deal to me this season. I guess it was inevitable because like they've consistently kind of sold off their best players and just somehow scrapped by and kept being competitive year after year. And it just feels like this must be the season where it just kind of finally all fell apart for them. But even them, they I believe it was they were who played Tigres in the last round of the Champions Cup, and they gave Tigres a little bit of trouble, but ultimately got was it them or was it who they played? It was them or Club? They played Club America. I think they played Club America before we played Club America. Somebody they played one of the
Hmm.
Mexican teams we've played, and they gave them a decent little fight in the Champions Cup before ultimately getting eliminated. But yeah, MLS play they've just gone off a cliff this season. I think their only win so far this season is against Montreal, who is just barely a professional team at this point in time. So it's kind of how much does that even count? But yeah, it's to your point. I think we're in a good spot where you don't want to lose to the bottom of the table team, but at the same time, I think we go out and rotate the team. We put our focus on Tuesday. I think nobody's gonna look at that and go, "Oh, they lost to the worst team." I think people can see what's going on and see what we're up to. But I mean, what we've seen from our backups and our reserves, our rotated squad. I mean, I got pretty much faith in them that they can go out there and get the job done in one way or the other. So,
Hmm.
feel pretty good about that game. Like one of probably the least games I've ever been worried about. Which weirdly, Philadelphia, even before they were
Yeah.
struggling, like their best years, like Nashville seemed to have their number. Like we were like 3-0 against them last year when they were like the supporter shills winner. We were like the only team that could take points off them last year. So we've kind of always had their number. So I mean, would expect that trend to continue.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Last year they were such a they were a fun team to watch last year. They were so aggressive and I enjoyed their style of play, but yeah, obviously they're not the same Philadelphia squad. Um Nowhere close. But yeah, I'm excited to watch that game and keep pushing the CONCACAF Champions Cup hopefully. About 15 minutes away from Geodis Park, maybe. I think I'm timing that right. Is Tennessee Titans with the draft. We just had that. We had the fourth pick and we got Carnell Tate, wide receiver. Um I trying to keep up with it, but don't know super much, and I'm sure you can give us some more insight. But apparently, he was not really ranked at the fourth pick that well. Like wasn't really deserving of that. Is the kind of the discourse I was seeing online.
Yeah, it seemed like kind of if there was any kind of criticism of the Titans taking him was that if you kind of just ranked players regardless of position, he probably wasn't a top four player on most people's standards. But this was a weird draft where like I think outside of Jeremiah Love, who got drafted just the position
Hmm.
before us to the Cardinals, who I think most Titans fans probably would have hoped had fallen to us that spot. He seems to be probably the only consensus home run pick in the draft. Like everybody else, like top pick quarterback Fernando Mendoza, he's got question marks.
Hmm.
All the defensive players, they all have like little weird question marks. There was just no clear, real definitive. These are the best guys. So in a year like that, I don't put too much stock into the whole,
Hmm.
you know, oh, this guy shouldn't have been drafted this high. This guy shouldn't be drafted this high. Um, I my first reaction when we drafted Cardinal Tate was like, okay, good wide receiver, something the Titans need. Probably too high at 4. We maybe could have traded back, maybe picked up some extra picks and got him a few picks later. There's been some reports that have come out, subsequently that shortly behind us, the Commanders, who I think were at pick 7, and the Chiefs, who were at pick 9, both had earmarked him as a target for them. So it's kind of like all of a
Hmm.
sudden you hear that and you're like, well, maybe we didn't have as much space to trade back, as much wiggle room as we thought we have, because the Chiefs ended up trading up to 6th actually after we took Carnell Tate, and they take a cornerback that they wanted. So they clearly were willing to move up if a player they wanted was there. So maybe he wasn't the top 4,
Hmm.
best player, but he was a player that for whatever reason our front office clearly zeroed in on and said this is the guy we want, and they kind of knew they couldn't move out of that position to take him because there was vultures kind of swarming right behind them who wanted him too. So and the Chiefs are a pretty good organization. If the Chiefs were interested in him, I feel pretty good about us being interested in him. And kind of you can almost kind of see a little bit of connective tissue there because our general manager came from the Chiefs organization, so there's probably some similar scouting, some similar thought process in the type of players they target. And I mean, I said it to like friends. I might have even tweeted this. Like we've died for the Titans to draft like a high level elite wide receiver for basically the entire history of the franchise. I shouldn't be complaining or getting mad that we finally give it a
Yeah.
shot and try to do it. And I think the only like outside of too high, the only knock that I've seen around him is people being like, "Oh, he wasn't even the number one wide receiver at Ohio State." And I'm like, "Well, the number one wide receiver at Ohio State is this dude Jeremiah Smith, who might be the first overall pick in next year's NFL draft." So it's not
Mhm.
like he was just like number two because he's some scrub who just couldn't break through. He was number two because he's behind one of the best wide receiver in the entire country. So it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of a little. What are you gonna do? It's like, oh, he's Hani Mukhtar's backup. He's not that good. It's like, well, Hani Mukhtar's the best player in the league. So if you're his backup and you also get to play, you
Yeah.
might be a little decent too. It's kind of like, oh, they shouldn't sign Warren Madrigal because he backs up Hani Mukhtar. It's like, what? He's pretty good. And Carnell Tate's a higher level performer than Madrigal has been so far. Madrigal, he'll get there. Crossing streams here, but I think just overall, like with us, clearly wanting him and deciding to go with him and
Mhm.
not waiting for other teams to maybe poach him a few picks later, and then later on trading back into the first round to pick up the defensive end we picked up out of Auburn. We traded up a couple more times to pick up a couple other players. If there's one thing you could say about the Titans draft, is
Mhm.
that they had a clear idea of what they wanted to do, the guys they wanted to go get. Because when you're trading up to get a guy,
Mhm.
it's not like you're just sitting there going, this guy's pretty good. We'll take this guy. It was a guy you wanted. You made an effort. You put the work in to go get him. So it's putting a lot of faith in our scouting department and our
Yeah.
front office to say that they actually picked good players. But we can say they identified players, targeted specific players, and had an idea of what they wanted to do. It wasn't just like a uh, Willy Wonka. That's not even a thing. Willy nilly draft of like just whoever's there will take. Like they were clearly going after players that they had specifically targeted. So um, I like that part of the draft strategy. And most of the reviews, the stuff I've written about people, it's like you said, starting with Tate. Like the worst thing anybody kind of said about him was like took him too high. I mean, if the worst thing we did is took a guy too high, but he's still going to be a really good player for us, I'll take that. Especially in a
Yeah.
position like wide receiver that has been just a all-time disaster for the Titans basically since the history of the franchise.
Did I, did I ever tell you that I met the wide receiver room?
No, no. How'd that go down?
Yeah, we were at shoot, I can't think of what it's called. It's a restaurant on Broadway, barbecue, like soul food. You get in a line with like trays. Do you know
Hmm.
what I'm talking about?
There's a couple I can think of. I don't know what John one would be off the top of my head, but it's one of like I don't think it's on Broadway. I was gonna say Arnold's, but that's kind of a little bit further out of
I
downtown.
think
But
that might have
yeah,
been it. Yeah. It wasn't, no, it
it's
wasn't
it's
directly on
just out.
Broadway.
Okay, it might have been Arnold's though. That's like a famous like meet and three, kind of just just off like the main kind of strip downtown.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend were eating there. It was my birthday weekend. We actually were eating there before we went and did the Geoda's Park tour. Um, and like a bunch of dudes walked in Tennessee Titans gear, and I was like, I I don't know, I don't recognize these guys as football players, and it'd look really bad if I like walked up and was like, "Hey, what sport do y'all play?" You know. Um,
Yeah.
but then I seen a kid go up and take a picture with them, and then I did a little Google search, and it was DeAndre Hopkins. That was like the
Oh,
main guy,
nice. Yeah.
and I I try to be like respectful when meeting famous people.
Mhm.
So I just they were sitting like right in front of the drink thing. So I just went over there, filled up my drink, and I said, "Go Titans!" And they all like looked at me, and then that was it. But uh, cool
Nice.
guys. I got a couple weird looks from them, like who the hell is this guy bothering us? But yeah, cool experience. He left.
Well, that was a good intro little phrase there because like you said, if they weren't Titans players, but they were wearing Titans gear, at least you got the end of like, oh, Titans fans, go
Yeah.
Titans. Yeah, we all like Titans. Yeah, so it's like weird like that. Like one thing I've noticed about like football players and like basketball players is even if you don't recognize who they specifically are, like especially if they're in team gear,
Hmm.
you can pretty much guess if they're going to be like players or not because like football players and basketball players are just like enormous compared
Yeah.
to like normal human beings. Like
That's
they're
a
even like bigger than you imagine them being. Like soccer players like look like just normal dudes when you meet them out in person, but like every football player I've ever meet, every basketball player I've ever met in person is feels like they're at least a foot taller than I pictured them being, and then I was
yeah.
like, you are a giant. Even
That
like I remember when I met Steve McNair, like he looks, he's a bulky kind of guy, but he didn't look like he was gigantic compared. I think it's because everybody's so big. They don't.
yeah.
He looks normal in comparison, but then I meet him and he's a foot taller than me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's a bad swing to miss on though. You know, it makes you look a little questionable if you get that wrong. Um, but yeah, I mean, even like you're so right because like when you think about like short basketball players, like they're like my height. You know, or like Eddie
Mm,
Tagseth, we make jokes about him being this fierce little like Chihuahua type character, and I think he's taller than me in the picture that me and him have together. So it's like, let's go easy
mm.
on it, guys. He's not that short. Um,
See, I always go the opposite way as soccer players. I think soccer players end up being shorter than I expect them to be because, like, I remember meeting a couple National SC players. Like, I met Lucas McNaughton one time, and like center back, he looks
he's
like he's one of
tall.
the taller guys in the field, and he was tall, but like he was like I was like, "You're not that much taller than me." Like, I met
Yeah,
like it's like,
they
yeah, but
they're not
it's
standout in a
funny.
room
It's a funny
tall.
differential thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Which is probably good for them. It's probably a lot easier for them to go out and have a nice meal and not have everybody go like, "Who is that giant human over there? He must be somebody."
yeah, I don't think most Nashville SC players probably get recognized. Maybe like Connie
Bet
and
Hani does.
Walker, but
Hmm.
I bet most of them can go out on Broadway and enjoy a night out.
But then it could backfire if they want to be noticed if they're on Broadway. Some of the single younger players, and they're like, "Hey, professional athlete over here.
True.
Hi, ladies." I'm like,
Sh-
no, wait, you're just a 5'10" normal guy. What are you talking about?
Show up in a full kit.
Yeah, yeah, that's one way to get attention.
that's that's one way to live your life as a professional athlete. Um, but yeah, so I'm really excited about this coming up season for football. I thought
Mhm.
about maybe like getting like the cheapest season tickets I can since I'll be there, but it's like $600, and I'm like, I don't know if I need to do that because you can probably get tickets day of for like $14. You know.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how the season goes, like I think there'll be like it always depends on how the season's going. Like early on, there's a little bit more popularity than like last season. I think they were legit like the last couple games you could get tickets for like $2 on Ticketmaster just because like nobody wanted to go those last few games last season. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. 'Cause, I mean, I think we definitely improved the team. Obviously, we got a new coach. Things should be going better, and I know they're like gonna want to, you know, I think every team wants to do well, but I think at least
Yeah.
the organization itself is going to want to really have a good season because they're launching into the new stadium the following season, and I don't think they want to launch the first season in the new stadium coming off another kind of
Hmm.
dud of a crap season. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, I like everything they've done this offseason for the most part. There's nothing like, I mean, obviously, like, just had another crazy front office deal where our team president or our president of football operations randomly just left the team out of nowhere. So
Hmm.
you can't have a normal offseason with the Titans, but that one was kind of, I don't know that it's a huge disruption. It was kind of a situation where it seemed like he had kind of been moved out of the role he wanted to really be in. And so it was more of like um, like he came in as more of like a personnel kind of assistant general manager and then eventually got promoted up to being president of football operations where he was more running non-team stuff, more like kind of big picture stuff, and I think he was more interested in scouting, recruiting players, that type of stuff. So, I mean, he even said that in his statement about why he was stepping down was he was looking to get back into a more of a personnel focused role, and I think
Hmm.
he kind of got supplanted from that by our general manager Mike Bergonzi, which is we can just never have a normal offseason. We can never just have like everybody just show up to work and do their job and nobody gets fired, nobody randomly quits. So, but yeah, like that aside, hopefully our new coach doesn't bang any reporters and we can just have a good season.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the Mike Rabel new kind of playlist leak that I sent you on Instagram. It's just like
Yeah,
that
it's
cannot be word like we talked about like a love letter getting leaked that you like write to a playlist getting leaked is like that's up there with like damn, why did I do that?
so I grew up. I'm old enough to like I remember like the
Mixtape
generation
CDs.
before me was doing mixtapes. My
Mhm.
generation was burning CDs for our girlfriends and stuff like that. And so I didn't even know that like making a playlist was a thing that the kids are still doing these days. And I say kids, it's two like grown adults who are cheating on their spouses with each other. But just the story just keeps getting funnier and weirder and weirder. And I read some stuff where like there's people who are like, oh, it's so misogynistic, sexist that Diana Rossini's losing her whole career and Vrabel just skates free. And I'm kind of like, it's very different because like the journalistic integrity side of things
Yeah,
that she
yeah.
clearly violated by this is such a huge deal. But I'm also kind of like, if things keep coming out, I wonder if like there has to eventually like get more heat on him if things keep coming out because like one of the things with like the latest pictures got leaked was like they got leaked. It was from them in a bar in New York in like 2020, which is when he was the Titans coach.
Mhm.
And there's some people who like put a timeline thing together where like shortly, like a day or two after those pictures were taken, she posted a tweet reporting that that was when Tom Brady was a free agent. And she posted a tweet because there was rumors that Tom Brady maybe the Titans because him and Vrabel haven't been teammates in New England. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, Tom Brady, could he come to the Titans? Because we'd had a couple good seasons there and we had Ryan Tannehill as our quarterback, and it was kind of like a he's been good for us, but get Tom Brady, maybe that's what really pushes you over the top. And so, a couple days after these photos now have leaked, people went back in time and started scanning the timeline.
Mhm.
And a day or two after those photos of them got taken, she reports the Titans are not pursuing Tom Brady in free agency. They are working on a contract extension with Ryan Tannehill. I was like, where did that information come from?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, oh, it's not anything with his job. It's just a personal matter. But it's like, well, if the head coach of your football team is leaking, you know, sensitive information to a reporter, that's not certainly something you want as an organization, especially because, like, I don't remember all the details of that situation,
Mhm.
but it could have been a type of situation where, let's say, the owner, Amy Adams Strunk, wanted to go get Tom Brady, but Vrabel was like, nah, Tannehill's my guy. He leaks that story to kind of put the pressure on them or to kind of dissuade Brady. That's not good. But also,
Yeah.
like, it kind of makes no sense if you're in contract negotiations with Ryan Tannehill to leak that, no, we don't want Tom Brady, because if nothing else, that should give you more negotiating power with your contract negotiations with, like, Ryan Tannehill to be like, Ryan, we want you back, but we might also be looking at Tom Brady. So, I mean, if we get you on a
Mhm.
reasonable deal, we'll run it back. But when you come out into the media and just go, nope, all we care about is Ryan Tannehill, that you
Yeah.
give him all the leverage. So there's little weird stuff like that where I'm wondering if more stuff like that's going to come to light, where it's kind of starting to look into was he kind of violating the sanctity of his job too,
Mhm.
and kind of doing stuff he didn't know, and it also has me wondering because this is conspiracy Matt taking over here, where
Mhm.
when he got fired, we'd had two bad seasons back to back. Things weren't going well, but it was still kind of like a whoa, this is kind of out of nowhere. Nobody really saw it coming that we were like going to fire Mike Vrabel because even though we'd had two bad seasons up to that point, he'd probably been our most successful coach other than Jeff Fisher. So you kind of like, it's been a rough stretch.
Mhm.
He'll get it turned around, I'm sure. But then, like, so now I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't know, maybe they were knowing some stuff was going on, and so maybe the firing wasn't all just because the performance on the field was bad. Maybe the firing was because like, hey, this guy's actually a scumbag who's out there cheating on his wife and leaking information about the team to his mistress. Like,
Yeah.
this guy's kind of a scumbag, type thing. I don't know. That's some little conspiracy wheels have started turning in my brain the more and more stuff comes out, and especially with it being stuff that's tying back to the Titans days, where I'm like, I remember always thinking that it was weird that she seemed to always have information about the Titans when like nobody else in the national media would give us the time of day. And it was like always stuff where like I think from like following European soccer, I have a little bit better idea of like being able to connect where stuff probably came from when people report
Mhm.
stories. And like I was like I can distinctly remember being like, this feels like it came from Rabel. This, I don't know who else would be telling her these things other than him. And then
Yeah.
now it's definitely getting a little weird on his side. And, he got like, he's in counseling and he's doing all the good stuff. But I don't know. I think if there's more coming out of this story, it can only get worse for him for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah, I was thinking about that too. It's like, I mean, I've been watching the morning show on Apple TV. I don't know if you've checked into it at all. But basically follows like a Good Morning America type show and all of the like scandals and stuff that is inside it. The first season was kind of based off like the Matt Lauer stuff.
Yep.
It's divulged into a whole different thing now, but like a lot of the times, or well, the show makes it seem like a lot of the times, who knows, that these companies, these businesses, these teams, they know before the public knows. Um, and so there's a chance that they knew all the Mike Vrabel stuff, like you're saying, and that
Hmm.
was in the decision, and it's just now coming out. I mean, I think there's a huge possibility there.
Yeah, there's been a couple things where like there's been some people that were kind of looking at things and thinking there's people who maybe already had known. I think there was a thing where like in the height of like the COVID lockdowns, uh Diana Rossini got like an exclusive interview with Mike Vrabel. Weird.
Yeah.
Now, but like there was somebody who like subtweeted it and was like, "Hmm, odd that when nobody has any access to anybody in the world because of COVID lockdowns, Diana Rossini gets an exclusive interview with an NFL head coach. Weird." And then there was like just this week, I think Chris Sims was on a Pro Football Talk podcast, and he was making some allusions to like some things he'd heard from other coaches' wives and through player circles and things he was hearing from people. And like the co-host of the show, Mike Florio's going, "Stay on topic, stay on topic, stay on target. Like, don't go down that road."
Yeah.
And then it came out like 2 days later that he's not going to be on the NBC broadcast anymore. Phil or Chris Sims this year, and everybody's kind of like,
Hmm.
did NBC cut him loose because he was getting a little too close to the sun, about to spill some tea? And
Hmm.
so it's there's all these little weird things where it's like, to your point, there's been some little hints and allusions to people having known things maybe
Yeah.
sooner than the rest of the world started to find out.
Only time will tell us. We'll never know.
Yeah.
Um, your boy, Diego Pavia, he went undrafted in the NFL draft, but he then signed a, I forget what the deal was, just like a free agent undrafted deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, I sent that over to my friend who was whenever he got invited to the training camp, I sent it to my friend who's a diehard Ravens fan. I was like, "All right, dude, Lamar, step aside. Diego's here." I don't know if you know the LeBron step aside meme. Um, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Dude, he's not making it out of training camp." I was like, "We'll see, man." Uh, I don't know what's going to happen with that. Probably not much, but they're taking a chance on him. So that's a win for Vandy fans.
Yeah, I mean, I was not entirely surprised that he didn't get drafted just because, I mean, the NFL is a lot more based on just like the kind of measurables than just like whatever you did on the actual field. Because I mean, see, like college performance doesn't necessarily translate to pro
Hmm.
performance, and he doesn't have the best arm strength. He's obviously undersized, and like the other thing that was kind of probably a factor that a lot of people weren't counting in is like he's not old, but for an NFL rookie, he's a little on the old side since he had
Hmm.
transferred and played in college a little bit longer than normal. So he had some stuff going against him just from like the kind of measurable stuff that NFL teams really look for. It was kind of weird how like the Ravens initially just invited him to kind of their camp, then we're like, no, we'll go ahead and sign you and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I don't know what like their exact quarterbacks. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, but I don't know who else they have in terms of like backups and stuff like that. So
No clue.
can't really speak to what shot he has of making the team. I can't remember if it was either John Gruden on the podcast or some other like former coach on a podcast who was saying the best case for him, the model that he should kind of go for is like, I don't know if you're familiar with this player. There's a player Taysom Hill
Mm-mm.
who played for the Saints where he was like a college quarterback, but he was kind of built a little thicker. He had good speed, could move, could run, almost like a Tim Tebow type, but maybe a little bit more athletic than even Tebow was.
Hmm.
And so the Saints have had him for years and have kind of used him as like a gadget player where like they'll line him up at tight end and he might just run a play as a tight end, or they'll put him in the backfield and maybe he'll run a play as a running back. Sometimes he lines up as quarterback and he can throw the pass. So
Hmm.
kind of a trick built-in trick play, gadget play type player. Like
A
that was, I
gimmick.
can't remember who it was, but there was somebody who, yeah, gimmick type player. And somebody suggested, that's, because he's athletic, because he can run, because he can do those things, and he can make a throw if he has to.
Yeah.
That could be maybe the mold for what Diego Pavia could be as an NFL player, is if he could find the right spot, like a creative offensive coach who can come up with some weird gadget system plays for him to run and do stuff like that. But I've also seen people say he just needs to go to UFL because UFL could just like put the marketing machine behind him and he could be the UFL superstar that kind of gets a little bit more attention for the league and stuff like that. So I think he'll be fine. He's, he's not going to be like, an NFL Hall of Famer or like a Pro Bowl or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I think he's, for all the criticism of his attitude and his way he acts and stuff like that, I think he's created a brand for himself to where, if he's not a professional quarterback, he's going to be hired by somebody to be on a podcast or be on a TV
Yeah.
show or do something. So he's, he's done well by himself. So I mean, and I think it's just like people just love crapping on Vandy because we just have so little. It's like it just there's so many people that are coming out of the woodworks going, huh, Vandy Pavia undrafted. There you go. I'm like, I mean, we've had like one quarterback in the history of the team
Yeah.
drafted in the NFL. Like, I mean, it's like Jay Cutler, and that's it. It's like, I mean, why you got to crap on us for like the next guy we had that was anywhere close to being drafted, not getting drafted? It's like, I mean,
I mean, I saw your
people
video
are so
of
mad that Vandy had like one good season.
I saw your video where you were in Bucky's and you made a disgusting noise at all the Vol stuff. So I'm gonna keep crapping
Yeah,
on Vandy. I think it's only fair.
yeah,
But I might have to
it's
become a
true.
Vandy
It's
boy.
true.
I mean, I'm gonna be a Nashville guy now. So maybe I had to switch gears a little.
Yeah, that's why this I is the reason I see UT and Vandy, whatever, but like
Yeah.
my parents, I was always because like I grew up, there's so many more UT fans than there are Vandy fans, even in Nashville. And I remember asking my parents as a kid, like, why aren't we UT fans? Everybody else is UT fans.
Hmm.
And my dad was always like, do we live in Knoxville? Why would it be fans of a team in Knoxville? We don't live in Knoxville. And I was like, okay, I guess let's go watch this team lose 12 games, I guess. Here we go.
Yeah. That's so funny. I yeah, we Matt, we need to once I get down there, we need to go to an arena football game and vlog it.
Oh yeah.
I've never been, but I want to. I've heard it's fun.
Yeah, I remember going to I haven't been since they brought them back, but I used to go to the OG Cats games, and
Hmm.
they were entertaining. They were fun, and I know they're doing like a lot more like kind of I don't want to say Savannah Bananas, not quite that extreme, but I know they're doing a lot of stuff to try to make the game day exciting if you go to those games. So
I
definitely something worth checking out at some point.
I don't want to talk about Savannah Bananas. I think it's a disgrace, and I don't even care about baseball.
You know,
Uh, but you went to Gatlinburg. You ran the Dollywood 5 and 10K on the same day. What the hell? And then
yeah.
a half marathon the next day. I don't understand how you can do this. That I watched it and I was like, how's he not in the hospital? That seems like terrible. How was your overall experience in kind of my neck of the woods?
I mean, I had overall fun. I mean, those I knew going into their uh, races that they were going to be challenging just because you go run a mountain or a race in the mountains of East Tennessee. I mean, you're going to be dealing with a lot of hills, a lot of elevation changes and stuff like that. So they were certainly challenging. The 5K wasn't too bad. The 10K little bit worse, and then the half marathon was like
Yeah,
just absolutely brutal because it was like just up and down hills, and then like the last like 5 or so miles was kind of flat with a hill here or there. But it was like, I'm also like, I told a lot of people at work this because like they're kind of like, oh my god, how you do all these runs? And like, I'm not like the runners. Like I'm not like the dude who ran a sub 2 hour marathon in London this weekend, which was so funny because like it was the same day I did the half marathon, and I did the half marathon in like 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I was like, I broke 3 hours. Mission accomplished. What a
Yeah.
great day for me. And then the London Marathon dude breaks 2 hours in a marathon, which is twice as long as what I ran. I'm just like, what the heck?
How
But
many
yeah,
miles is the half
I'm running like
marathon?
13. So
Okay.
like yeah, 13. So like I'm running like 11 and a half, 12-minute miles on these races. So it wasn't anything like it's not like I'm like out there like
Yeah.
sprinting, killing myself, going for personal best. Like especially like this race and like when I did the Disney races, these are races like you're 100% just doing for the fun and the experience of kind of running in a unique place that you don't normally get to run around. So it was cool from that perspective. It was very very exhausting. Like Sunday after the half marathon, I took like a 3 hour nap after we got done, and I probably would have not gotten out of bed under normal circumstances. But I was up there with my wife and her friend, and so like they're like poking me with a stick while I'm in the bed, like, "Hey, we want to go down to Gatlinburg. Hey, hey, wake up! We want to go down to Gatlinburg." And I'm just like, ah, drag myself out of bed and go walk around the strip for a little bit. But yeah, overall fun. Like I think the one thing that kind of brought the weekend down was it rained pretty much all day
Yeah.
Saturday. If it hadn't been bad weather Saturday, it would have been a really nice weekend. So overall, I had a good time.
I haven't got to watch all the vlogs. I watched the first day and then the last day. Did was it raining on the Dollywood day that you guys went to the actual park?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The day we ran the 5K, or the day I ran the I don't know, who did it. The day I ran the 5K and the 10K. Afterwards, me and my wife and her friend went to Dollywood, and it was fine because it was like it wasn't like just pouring down to the point you couldn't do anything. It was
Mhm.
kind of like that where it's just like raining just enough to be annoying. So
Yeah.
we ate at like the Granny's, whatever it is, where they've got like the all you care to eat with like the fried chicken and stuff, which was really
Mhm.
good. And then, have you been to Dollywood?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know Lightning Rod.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I was like, yeah, I'd like to ride Lightning Rod. That's like probably the best ride here. And like Jessica's friend was like, I don't really want to ride it, and Jessica was like, I don't want to ride it. And I was like, all right, if you guys don't want to ride it out, we don't have to ride it. I'm not going to ride it by myself. And then Jessica was like, fine, I'll ride it with you. And I'm like, no, no, no. I was like, no, no, no. I'm literally okay not riding it. I've been on it before. I was just saying it's fun. But she's like, no, I know you'll be in a way if we don't ride the ride. Let's go ride it. And I was like, okay, so let's go ride it. So it's posted 45-minute wait, but it's like we just eaten. So I was like, all right, that's kind of okay. 45 minutes, let the food settle. I don't want to jump on right on a ride anyway. So if I have to wait a little while for a ride, at least I can kill some time and let the food settle a little bit. Well, while we're waiting, their ride has technical difficulties. So that caused it
Mm.
to go longer. And then there must have been some other stuff going on too, because it definitely went way longer than it should have. And we ended up waiting like an hour and 45 minutes, and we get on it. And I don't think Jessica knew how fast and how intense Lightning Rod was. Like
Yeah.
she just looked at it like, because you can't really see the whole ride from
Mhm.
like outside. So she just thought it was like a wooden roller coaster. Like she's like, ugh. But like legit, we go down that first hill and she's just screaming like, "I don't like it! I don't like it!" She's just freaking out. And like when we finally come to a stop at the end, like the look of hatred she was giving me, like just daggers through me, like so mad
Yeah.
at me. Like I just like I'm like I literally said we didn't have to ride this. You were like the one who was like, "No, we'll go, we'll go." And I was like, I literally said you have to ride this. But then I was like, after that, I was like, okay, we waited an hour and 45 minutes for this, and my wife wants to kill me now, so I think we're probably not going to ride any more rides today. So we just they have like a food festival going on, so then we just went and tried some more food and just kind of went and looked at some of like the uh, other stuff they have. So no more rides that day, but still had a fun day. And I
I
actually got to ride one more ride because during the half marathon they let you ride a couple of the rides, and I rode the Big Bear Mount, which was a lot of fun.
mm. Yeah, I'm not a big roller coaster guy at all. The last time I went, I was probably like 8 or 10. Like I was like young, and everyone's like, "Ride Blazing Fury." I was like, I don't want to ride that stupid ride. Like I know I'm not gonna have fun. No, ride it, ride it. And I was like, I'll just wait for you guys. And they're like, dude, you're 8. You can't wait while everyone like you can't wait in this packed amusement park. I was like, okay, whatever. So I get on it with my mom, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get the front seats because those are the best." I was like, "God, like now I'm not gonna be able to know what's gonna happen." Um, and dude, I screamed my head off. That's one of the like kind of chiller rides there.
Yeah.
I am not a roller coaster person at all, and I like after that like I didn't talk to anyone for the rest of the day. I was like, let's go to I think I had to take like a kind of cleansing break with the water one, Soaky Mountain River or River
Mhm.
Rampage. Um,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. You guys had me screwed. I was so pissed off. The part with the train. I don't know if you've rode it, but where you get the train fake
Yeah.
out. Like
Hmm.
I thought I was getting hit by a train. I was so close to death. I thought.
Yeah, we went to Disney World when I was 6 years old, and one of the very first rides we rode was Snow White's Spooky Adventure or
Mm,
Scary Adventure, which isn't there anymore. But like one of the very last scenes is like, I swear, like just it's like a cardboard cutout of like the evil witch pops up towards the end.
yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. I was just like terrified after that. And we were there with like my aunt and uncle, and my aunt was pregnant, and so like I just used her as a cheat code the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
I was like, no, she can't ride the rides, and I don't want to have her to have to stand by herself while we go ride the ride. So I'll just stay with Aunt Sue while y'all go ride the ride. Don't worry about me. I'll keep her company. You know, it's fine. But I was really just like, that ride scared the piss out of me. I don't want to ride anything else the rest of the trip. And like I was not a good ride person until I was probably like 13 or 14, and like started giving stuff a try. Like when Opryland was still a thing, I was like going. I was like, all my friends are riding the Hangman. I'm gonna look like a dork if I don't ride the Hangman. So then I had to go ride the Hangman. And I was like, oh, shit, what have I been doing all these years? Stupid
Yeah.
Snow White.
I
But
like rides that go up and down. Uh, I like rides that spin. I'm not into roller coasters. Water rides are fine, but if we're going too fast, that's when I check out.
the I think the funniest thing about Jessica on Lightning Rod was that she was like, which because it just has like the lap harness, it doesn't have like the extra shoulder
Yeah.
thing, and so you kind of like get a little lift sometimes in the stuff where you kind of feel like you're coming out of the seat. And she's like, we did flips and there wasn't even a shoulder harness. I was like, there's no flips in Lightning Rod. She's like, no, we went upside down. And I was like, no, we did not. We never went upside down. She, I know we went upside down. And I'm like, there is no flips in that ride. But it's just like,
You should have got that on
if you
vlog
say
if you
so.
didn't. That
Yeah, I can't remember if I got her saying that or not, but
you
that
would have
was
been in the
like,
doghouse probably bad if you recorded her the whole
yeah,
time.
I've gotten pretty good over the years of knowing when she wants to be on camera and when she does not want to be on camera. And I think there was about a 20-minute window where we got off that ride where if I had put anything she did on camera, she would have broken the camera and been okay with it because she bought me the camera, so she'd
Yeah.
be perfectly fine saying, "Oh, I'm gonna break it."
Would have saw a lot of the clipping probably.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
You know, you can if she brings it up again, you can say that's payback for the stolen valor that she committed on Instagram. She posted your medals and
Uh-huh.
said that
Uh-huh.
she completed the
Mhm.
races. So say that's just for the stolen valor. You're not going to get my marathon
Yeah.
discounts. Um, Dude, the mystery mine is scary. That ride is terrible. I feel like Dollywood gets
Yeah.
slept on for the rides a little bit. I feel like their rides are pretty good.
Yeah, no, they got some good stuff. I mean, like, for being more of like a regional. I think like they're growing. I mean, they're getting like they're twice as big as when I first time I probably went, but like
Hmm.
they've definitely gotten above of being that kind of Six Flags level type of park, and they're kind of probably right there just behind Universal and Disney, just about. But yeah,
Is
they've got some great rides. Lightning Rod's a blast. The Screaming Eagles crazy. But
the
yeah, the
yeah.
mine one is awesome. They've got some fun stuff there.
It's like you gotta take her on the Tennessee Tornado next. See,
No, I don't think she'd do that.
not at all. Um, it's so like interesting talking to someone that's not from America and explaining Dollywood. I don't know if you've ever seen like the viral video of like the guys like, what is in Pigeon Forge? Are they forging pigeons? Um,
Mhm.
it's like it sounds like it'd be super gimmicky, and in ways it kind of is. But it's a good time. It's a good staple for us East Tennesseans.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That was that was give one take one. So like the roller coaster theme park vacation kind of was my trip. Now we got to give one back to Jessica because we're going to Mexico next week, and that's her trip to just be sitting on the beach with a cocktail.
Yeah, you're just gonna hate your whole time there.
I know. I mean, it's I'm more of a theme park vacation guy, but I'll suck it up if I have to make my wife happy.
You gotta read Project Hail Mary?
Yep, I got that.
Sweet.
I'm looking at a couple other books. I ordered some stuff. I can't remember what I ordered, but I don't know if it's gonna. I think one of them's gonna come in time, but the other one I think got delayed. But I got two or three books, and Project Hail Mary is definitely one I'm bringing with me.
Sweet. I'm in the middle of Remarkably Bright Creatures for book club right now. It's a really pretty book. It's like a murder mystery with a octopus. It's about to be a movie on Netflix, and that's why we're reading it with Sally Fields. Never go wrong with her.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I've like I said, finals has been kicking my butt this week, so I haven't really got to do much anything outside of like work, and I put that on as an audiobook and kind of go through the parts that is required, and it's been a good read. Uh I haven't checked out the new boys, haven't watched any movies. I'm sure you've been busy, so have you gotten to do anything?
No, I mean I was in Georgia Tuesday and Wednesday, drove back Thursday, drove to Gatlinburg Friday, drove back Monday, went to the National SC game last night. So I think like today was like went back to work today, went back to work yesterday, then went to the National SC game. So I think like tonight's like the first night I've just been at home
Yeah.
since probably like last Monday. So yeah, I have not outside of watching sports and doing stuff like that, I have not watched or consumed any content.
Cool. Yeah. Kind of slow week for us guys. But it's going to be even slower next week because I will, as Matt said, he'll be in Mexico, and I will be doing potentially a solo episode or having a guest that I mentioned a few times on the pod. We'll miss you, Matt. We'll hold down the fort. Uh, I know last time you were in Mexico, you went live, so I don't know if you have any plans to do anything like that this year.
Yeah, yeah, probably. I don't know. I might do an arrival one because we did kind of our checkout day. Did a quick live stream on the way out last. I might try to do check-in live stream. I know that's kind of a thing a lot of people do on YouTube is like when they're arriving at their destination, doing like a live stream. So
Mm,
we'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll do something at some point during the week, but one way or the other, there'll be
vlogs.
vlogs coming out throughout the week from the trip and stuff like that. So plenty of content to come.
Is this one that you've been to before, or are you trying a new one?
No, this is a repeat one. It's one we've been to quite a few times. It's kind of our favorite spot, but the bigger resort complex itself has like several new things we'll be checking out.
Cool.
So even though like where we're staying is kind of a place we've been to many times, there's going to be some new stuff, some cool stuff that we'll be checking out that's going to be new to us. So we'll have a few new wrinkles in there.
Cool. Well, viewers, look forward to that. Matt's links are in the description, and he those will go catch up with him for the Dollywood stuff. If you're not from East Tennessee and you're from his parts, go check those out because they're pretty cool. You get to watch him struggle doing a race, which we all would. Those damn hills.
Hmm.
That's my I live in that, man. It sucks. It's terrible. I'm ready
Mhm.
for some flatter
Yeah.
ground. Uh, you can check me out on TikTok and YouTube. Dylan tries to read. Uh, and then Matt, if you want to plug yourself and close us out, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, Uncle Mad with 2Ds on YouTube and all the other social platforms. So like I said, lots of content's been coming out lately because we had a lot going on with the Gatlinburg trip and some other stuff, and plenty more to come now that we're going to Mexico. So we'll be churning out the content.
Sweet, yeah, yeah. A lot of non-sports related stuff, which is cool to see too. That's I kind of want to take that route too a bit myself and just record just to record because like I got this new camera. I need to do some stuff with it. Um, I started a vlog the other day. Uh, it was the start of finals week. I didn't get any sleep that night, and then I worked a 10-hour shift, and I was like vlogging each hour. I had a sales goal at work, and then I had like a homework goal, but like the 6 hour hit, and I was like, dude, I'm fucking like I can't
Mhm.
do anything. So that
Mhm.
quickly shattered. But yeah, hopefully there's some more content coming from me. But thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Come on, you boys in gold.